Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome into the Hump Day Hotline. Hump Day, Hump Day, Hump Day, hump that like. Jump on that like button, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good to have you. Hump that like button.
Go ahead and hump it.
Go ahead and hump it. Whatever you got to do, just jump on it and hump that like button. But ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Hump Day Hotline. I am Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Hump Day Hotline, and my much better looking co-host is over there, and he is.
Man, you ain't even got to lie like that to the people. But this is Jay Smith, the King. What's going on, everybody?
Good to see you, my man. How's your day, bro?
Oh, it's good. It was busy, very busy. But I jumped in. Well, you know this, but everybody watching, I jumped in like literally 6 minutes before it was time to go live, and that's how my day went.
That's how your day went. So a little bit busy, but mine wasn't too bad, but it was busy. The chat room is filling up. I see Amanda Davies in here. Daniel Gowers is in here. Apex. What's up, Mike? Eli Padilla is in here. Who else? Richard Rush is in here. So if you're in the chat, go ahead and say hello. But ladies and gentlemen, it is so good to have you on this Wednesday evening. And the other good news, I've got a bunch of stuff. The other good news is this show is going to be dropped as a podcast when the season begins. Which is really, really cool. So this show, I think both of our shows are potentially going to be dropped on Saturday, our pregame shows.
Did I know that?
I was talking to Aint about it because there was people, Anthony Marino, because there was people that were asking me for my content. They were like, you've got all these shows, they're going to be dropped as pods. So I reached out to Anthony. I was like, I got people interested in where they're going to be able to find this stuff as podcasts. Can we get it on the network? Do I need to pivot and do something else? He's like, well, let me talk to Bruce and see what I can do. So they kind of figured some of that stuff out, which is really, really cool. But you are tuned into the Hump Day Hotline. We are Super Chat Live. So please, if you feel the need to get our attention, whether it be a comment or a question, you are welcomed to use the Super Chat function. But if you are also watching this live now or in a post-recorded state, if you have not yet liked and subscribed to the YouTube, the Buffalo Rumblings YouTube channel, please do so. Also hit the little bell so you get all the alerts. We've got some incredible content coming up for you this season from Buffalo Rumblings. I would put it up against just about anybody, any other program, any other network in any other market. So not just the Bills market, but any market. Like the content we got coming up this season is going to be fantastic. You're going to want to be a part of it. I think that's all of the news. Anything
if I can add to that?
Yeah,
well, no, not even anything you missed, but to add to that, when Joe says that the content this season coming up can rival any network, he's not just talking about podcast networks.
No,
it's about to be a whole different year for Buffalo Rumblings and the YouTube network that we're building and everything else that we're doing. It's going to be a fun year. So everybody get ready for it.
Yep.
Buckle up.
And somebody did say Hump Day. Hump Day. So jump on that like button or jump on the hump the like button. Man, you get crossed, right? So like Sundays turn into Mondays, turn into Wednesdays.
I say hump every show. It don't even matter. I be in a humping mood, so I just say hump that like every day, every show.
Oh, that's so funny. So we've already got a question. So before we get to the topics, let's ask a question, and I'm going to give this one to you. This one comes from Bob Crane. Bob, welcome into the show. So good to have you. What kind of impact do you think Jake Kumerow will have on the offense if he makes the 53?
I think Jake Kumerow is going to have a pretty decent role in the offense. I don't think it's going to be like a top, because obviously he's not going to steal snaps from Cole Beasley, or he's not going to steal snaps from Diggs and, Sanders. But I really do think that, he has everything from what I'm seeing in camp and what I'm hearing from camp. He has everything that really what you want a receiver to have. It's just that we're so deep on this roster. So I think there's going to be a lot of empty set formations that we see where it's just Josh back there, and we're going to have receivers. It's going to depend a lot on the tight end position as well. If we're going to have an empty backfield with a couple receivers and tight ends, or are we going to have strictly all receivers? If that's the case, if Dawson Knox doesn't fix this, and I'm hearing that it's actually in camp, we're still having issues in camp with him dropping passes. And, so if that's the case, if we don't have a dependable receiver option in the tight end position, I think Jake Kumerow actually comes in and makes this, like, he really makes a year out of this, and he earns himself a check somewhere next season.
I like your assessment. I can't necessarily say that I disagree with it. It'll be interesting to see how the whole thing plays out. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about all the depth. It's weird to me. I've never been anxious for cutdown day, and this year I am legit anxious for cutdown day. Like, just to see who's going to be gone from this roster. Are they going to go with the youth movement on the defensive line and cut Addison and Butler? Are they going to keep Addison and Butler and bounce guys like, Harrison Phillips and Daryl Johnson or F.A. Obata? What are they going to do in the wide receiver room where they've got 12 rostered wide receivers right now? What are they going to? Are we going to see Marquez Stevenson be good on the kick returns in preseason game 2 and 3, and then watch them cut him only for him to get scooped up by a team that's kick returner hungry? Right? It's the anticipation that I have for, and I can say what the date is. So the cut down dates are as follows, if I can get there. Because I had it from my notes from the other show. Maybe not. I thought I had them. Apparently I don't have them. My computer rebooted, so I lost pretty much everything. But I think it's the 20. It's after the 28th. It might be the 29th. They have to be cut down to 53. Is when they have to be cut to 53. But I could be wrong about that as well. This is annoying. So, anyways, I wish I had it.
Actually, it's whatever the so the Hump Day Hotline on the 1st. We're gonna have Sal Capaccio on there, so I believe cut down day is the 30th. I think it's the 29th or the 30th. Yeah, they have to be cut down to 53. Yeah. So I'm excited about that day. So you just made an announcement that people don't know about. Yes. So after cut down day,
we need to roll a dum breaking news.
after the cut down, that episode after that day of the Hump Day Hotline, Joe and I will be hosting Sal Capaccio to talk about the roster cut down, the final roster that we're going to be going into week 1 with. It's going to be fun this year, man. I'm excited. And Sal, Sal's the man. So, it's going to be a fun episode.
I got to come up with an intro. I love this. Sal Capaccio. Sal. Anyway, but yeah, I got to figure something out. But it's going to be exciting to have him on. But I'm just anxious for that. Yeah. So why don't we get the show kicked off as more and more people are piling into the comment section. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can comment all night. The best place for you to be if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter is to be on YouTube. Jump over to YouTube just because there's way more people that tend to be in the YouTube chat. Also, you can super chat there if you want to get our attention. Please feel free to do so. Not to mention the fact that it helps poor content providers like Jay Spence and myself out if you super chat us, because that's money that goes to us. So we will definitely will appreciate those. But we will start here, and I'm prefacing and I'm saying, you already know this, but I'm telling the people that are watching now and later up front, I'm not going to be much help here. I can probably lend some pragmatic conversations, but as it pertains to Tre'Davious White, I got 95 problems, but a list ain't one. And that is what we titled the show tonight. You came up with that title. It was appropriate and solid. I loved it. Go.
Well, I mean, I initially, for the record, I wanted to have EJ on the show, and Joe was like, yeah, let's just have it be the 2 of us tonight. We had EJ on, and I was like, you're right. But I just wanted to get EJ for a minute because he keeps coming from my guy, Trey White. And
for a segment, I would have been fine. But for an hour, I was just like, I'm not sure.
Well, no, it could have been a segment, but it's okay. I'll get him. I don't care if I have to, we can go live just on a random day. Because the thing is, he keeps making these comments once the 100 player list started to come out and Trey was 95, that was the first text or DM I got. 95 though. I wasn't even watching the episode. I wasn't even watching it. And he's just and he just keeps talking about how Trey isn't Trey and he's not elite. He's not top 10, not top 5. And it's just like, what are you talking about? And look, you see around the league where practice is practice, and guys will get catches, that they wouldn't get during the game, or they make big plays, and we get all excited about it for the season. But in reality, dude, come on, man. Trey has film, for seasons, not just one season. He has film for seasons, and he played elite in college, and he's still playing elite. Just because he had a down year, first of all, his down year was still better than probably 95% of the league at this position.
Talk about it.
So for me to say that as a down year, we're not going to sit here and talk like Trey White is that dude, I got an issue with that. So first, the question is, is it an accurate space on that list for Trey White? Now, I know that. And I'm with you. It's not. But again, it comes down to the conversation. Well, players are voting on this. My question is, I really want to know who, what players are voting on this? Because the thing is, there's often, every single year when this list comes out, there are players who go out and tweet, well, they didn't ask me that.
Yeah.
Now, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, for sure.
Not an excuse.
And there's a correlation to me for some reason between, and maybe it's just because the way the tweets come out. I know that the top 100 list is not a part of Madden. But the top 100 list, when it comes out, is very similar to and evokes the same emotions from Bills fans or just probably NFL fans in general that the Madden ratings do, right? Do you understand what I'm saying by that?
Yeah.
So, and I watched the top 100 list, and I generally, so when I said there wasn't a bunch that I was going to be able to add to this topic, I generally like the top 100 list because of what you just said. The players have a big say. I think they have all the say, right? They vote entirely on where players fall, and I can't get there from here. I can't get from 5, 6, or top 10 with Tre'Davious White last year to 95 this year. I can't, like, how does a player slide that, especially a cornerback who is as young as he is? It's, for me, I just don't know how to get there from here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. The thing, so the Madden ratings, I take those personally a little more serious, or seriously, because I actually play Madden. So like, it matters to me if my team isn't as good as I think they are. So that I do kind of get bent out of shape because I'm a Madden player. But for this list, you know, I watch it, and it's like, it's fun to watch how the other players who are interviewed talks about the players that get listed on this thing and all that. But I don't put like a ton of I just don't put a lot of weight on what they say, because the thing is, at the end of the day, it is still, again, even though it's the players, it's still almost a popularity contest, you know, aside from certain things just being an undeniable fact. So like, you can't deny that last year Aaron Rodgers had the best season as a quarterback out of any quarterback in the league. You just can't deny it.
Bruce's stew would prove that comment
very, very easily, you know. And so when you look at that type of performance, you can't deny, like, okay, he's probably the best quarterback last year. Okay. But for when you have other guys, who knows? You know, the Bills haven't been favorites around the league for a long time. Right. And then on top of that, now that we are kind of sort of becoming favorites and people know who we are, it's still not to the point where we have the respect from everybody around the league. So, you know, it's some buzz. We're getting buzz.
Do you think that the Bills are still are still disrespected?
I do. And the reason why is not on the same level that we used to be. So before, the fans were always like, well, we you know, we don't get love at all. We don't get nobody respects us at all. Okay, we got that respect. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the rest of the guys, they earned that by making it to the AFC Championship. For sure. But now in the offseason, you still have a bunch of people, our friends over at Good Morning Football. You still have them saying, hey, you know, Josh still has to do more. That's disrespectful to me. You have PFF saying that Trey White is not a top 5 cornerback. That's disrespectful to me. You have guys saying, well, Stephon Diggs had the most yards last year, but that's only because Travis Kelce didn't play week 7. Like, disrespectful to me. You have guys saying the defense isn't that, you know, disrespectful to me. Yeah, last year was, everybody had an off year because of COVID. Everybody had guys that opted out. Everybody had but it was a down year for our guys, and they still showed up in the second half of the season. So the disrespect is coming, but it's different. Now it's coming in the sense of, you know, teams who are good always get the doubters, as in like, well, it was last year. You're not going to do it again. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. It's disrespect. My guy was the runner-up for MVP.
I love this question. Oh, it jumped on me. Sorry, Amanda. I love this question from Steve Lynn. Welcome back into the show, Steven. And it's always good to have you. As the Bills are consistently successful on TV, Bills players will be ranked higher in the future. Do you believe that?
Probably, but
I don't.
With this list, I don't think it has to do with visibility around, like, to the national audience.
I think Good Morning Football and places like that are always going to talk about Dak more than they talk about Josh Allen.
Well, I think the league is built that way. You know what I mean? Like, so right now there are basically 4 teams that, regardless of how good they are or how bad they are, they're going to be talked about. The Dallas Cowboys is one of them. The Steelers is another one. Yep. Green Bay is another one. And for some ungodly reason, I don't know why, it's always the Browns. Like, everybody loves the Browns, and I don't get it. Now
it seems like it. Yeah.
It does. And this is before Baker. This isn't even one of my Baker rants. Right. We just love to really pile on the Browns. So good or bad. Every year they get a new coach. Oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. No, they don't even make the playoffs. But 4 teams. So you're right. The Dallas Cowboys are talked about every single year. Dak Prescott every single year. Ezekiel Elliott, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They have the deepest roster in the league. They're going to be every year.
CeeDee Lamb is going to be the best wide receiver in football, or one of the best wide receivers in football. Yes, for sure. Like,
no, CeeDee Lamb is going to be a damn problem, though. He is. CeeDee Lamb is nasty with it.
We'll see. I mean, he clearly was hurt last year by who was throwing him the football. Dak not be, and I like Dak Prescott. So this isn't a slam the Cowboys conversation. I like Dak Prescott, but there's just a pump the brakes moment. Let's see it first, right?
Yeah,
so as much as it, to your point, to round this all out, and then we can move on because there's another question I want to populate. Let's see it first. Let's pump the brakes and see it first, like we did with Josh Allen. So why are we promoting and talking about how great CeeDee Lamb is going to be, and saying that Josh Allen needs to do more? Josh Allen did a lot. He was the number 2 quarterback in the NFL last year. Like, give the man some respect. Justin Paradis, hey, Joe and Spence, are we still getting Mike Robin here? Really looking forward to seeing that guy in here. Why don't you speak to that?
Yes, we will be having my guy, the real Mike Rob, joining. Oh, wait, let me take the comment off so y'all can see the doggone thing.
You were ready for it. Wow.
You know what I mean? I'd be on it. You know what I'm saying? But he's not going to be on.
We have been doing this so long that we have mind melded. You knew what question I was going to ask, and you were ready.
And I was there. I was with it. But Mike Robb will be joining me on the Code of Conduct. He will not be on the Hump Day Hotline, but you can, obviously, if you're subscribed to the Buffalo Rumblings podcast or to the YouTube network, please make sure you keep up with this. I also have some big guests coming up in September during the season. Every single week for September, I got somebody big coming in. So it's going to be a fun season. Like Joe said earlier, man, we are really going to the season's going to be fun. So
yeah, for sure.
So lock into the content.
Steve Lynn says players don't watch all the games. They definitely don't watch all the games. However, players do say, Emmanuel Sanders said, I watched all the Bills games because I enjoyed watching Josh Allen and what he was doing. So the players do watch. They watch football. And I promise you they've got Game Pass. So the NFL is definitely giving them Game Pass so they can watch any game they want to watch.
Even with this, like, so, and it's an analogy, but I feel like it works. So like in the podcast community with us, the content creation community, whether it be YouTube, whether it be regular pods or whatever, the thing is, we might not always listen to everybody's full show and know what everybody is doing and everything like that.
Right.
But there's a clear communication amongst the members of the community, and we all know who is who. We know who does what well. We know, like, for instance, if somebody asks me, well, what's the best podcast in Buffalo to go and listen to for film breakdown? I know to tell them to go and check out Eric Turner at Cover One. Sure. I know. So what I'm saying is, in the NFL, those guys are professionals. They know each other. It is a fraternity. They talk about it all the time. NBA says it. NFL says it. It's the players' fraternity. Those guys know who's legit.
Yep.
It's not a secret. So I don't have to watch every Bills game as a cornerback of the whoever, but I guarantee you I know who's the best cornerbacks in the league if I'm a cornerback in the league. So that's where I have an issue with as far as like the visibility thing. I don't think it matters to players who they get to watch and who they don't. We know who the hell is the best players in the league.
Josh Allen is one of them, and so is Tre'Davious White. Real quick golf clap. I believe this is the first time that Matt, the beater photographer, has been on our show. So, Matt, welcome into the show. It's good to see you. It's nice to see you have made the jump from Twitter to YouTube. Welcome. So it's good to have you. We can put this to bed. I think what we're trying to say here as it pertains to I've got 95 problems, but a list ain't one. Don't worry about Tre'Davious White is on this list. He's not going to finish this year or next year at 95. He is. Do you feel, I guess the question that I would have is, do you feel that he slid this in 2020? Did he slide a little bit? And I think this is a loaded question. Do you feel like he slid because is it him or is it the front seven in front of him?
Well, I believe it's the front seven. I don't think it, and I said this the other day when I had you and Strohs on the Code of Conduct. I feel like the defensive lines play, especially early in the season, we weren't doing well with really stopping a run, getting to the quarterback, anything. We weren't putting any pressure on. So when that happens, it makes it very difficult for your safeties and cornerbacks to cover these guys, especially when you're going against some of the top guys that the Bills went against last year.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to cover DK Metcalf for 8 seconds. Like it's difficult to do it for 3, yet alone 8. So I think if you look at it statistically, obviously it was a down year statistically,
Yeah.
but if you watch the game and you add the context to those statistics, there's no way that I'm saying Trey White is not a top 5 cornerback.
Spoiler alert, Richard Rush. I want to ask the question, and he's asking Chris Jenke, the real Chris Jenke. I believe it was Beasley's first time in the top 100. Did Beasley made it, right?
Yes, he was 96, one above Trey.
That's right. So any other surprise Buffalo Bills in the top 100?
No, not from last year. I think, well, it depends on how people see it. I think around the league, I think people see Tremaine Edmunds differently. Now, we're getting him the list, I don't know if he makes it that high, but I would have absolutely expected to see him there.
We have a very weird comment. I was suffering from herpes for over 5 years. I was hopeless until one day. We're just going to delete that comment.
Yeah, and I'm going to block that one too. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Moving on.
Real quick, I do want to laugh at one thing. The real Chris Jenke said Corey Davis the way I say Kelvin Benjamin. Don't nobody like Kelvin Benjamin on this joint.
That's funny. So moving on to this. I'm guessing you watched the presser for Dion Dawkins?
I did not have the time to. I saw a couple clips, but I didn't get to watch it in its entirety.
It was heavy. It was heavy and balanced, is what I would say, because they tried to trap him. So he was speaking very pointedly, and I think we ended either last week's show. You okay over there?
Yeah, I was actually trying to pull it up while you were talking.
Gotcha, because you're looking around the room a little bit. I didn't know if there's a fly in your room.
Which on my screen? I got 3 screens, so I was moving one.
Oh, you're all technical up in here. One of the weeks, I don't remember when it was. It might have been 2 weeks ago or last week. We had kind of talked about Dion, that we need to be praying for him because this is taking longer than it should. And I personally had concerns. I was like, I didn't say it out loud, but I'm concerned about it. But I just said, it shouldn't take this long for him to get over COVID. Let's see what's up. He was very candid and very open about just what he went through and where his mind was at, which was, why me? Why am I going through this? I'm a professional athlete. Yeah, go ahead if you want to roll that.
Okay, we're gonna roll the is this on pod? Would this episode be pod or when the season starts?
When the season starts.
Okay, well, I was gonna give a warning.
Professional athlete, and I'm down bad like this. I said
I was just gonna say that
who aren't healthy and don't work out and really don't do anything. I was like, man, just God bless them, because I just got off of an off season where I was grinding every day. And then as soon as I come back, I got hit with it. So it was just like, man, this is crazy. But, this is a world fight, and I just got hit with a bullet. I was extremely emotional, man, extremely emotional. I didn't even think that I was that emotional. And I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but there was moments that I was like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna make this. I was down bad. Where I could barely move, and I was just hurting. But you keep pushing. God has a way of doing stuff and making things happen in your life, so you can snap back and just realize that life can be over and before, and it. And regardless of what you made in life and what you did, you just got to just keep stepping and just do and what's right, because you never know what tomorrow brings. The message that I probably would overall say is do what you're most comfortable with. But I'm glad that I had the vaccine when I had COVID, and I wish that I could have been fully vaccinated. I was right before the fully vaccinated point. But, if I was fully, I think that it would have been a little bit easier on my.
Okay, well, I think that was the end of it. It was a partial video, so it didn't have the whole thing, but he was
incredibly candid.
He was.
And inside of that, they tried to trap him. Where I was going with that is they tried to trap him and being like, did you throw? They didn't say it. Paraphrase.
Right. Did you talk to Beasley? Basically.
Did you throw this in Beasley's face? And he's like, no, that isn't what this is about. I love Cole Beasley, and Cole Beasley is not trying to downplay what's going on. He's talking about, and that's the problem with the whole Cole Beasley thing is, as Twitter often does, we read headlines. We don't read content. We just read the headline first, and then we jump off the headline. Cole Beasley was speaking pointedly about some other stuff, and then it just caught fire from there and got gaslit. But I think the scary thing for me was when I heard Dion say that he was in the hospital. I was like, what? which tells me, and that was after he had gotten vaccinated.
Mhm.
And I think since this whole COVID thing started, my biggest fear, I may have said this to you last year. What happens if we play the NFL season and like COVID hits a team like it did the Titans and one of the players dies? Like, was it worth it? Is where I was kind of at.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced, but I'm 95% convinced that had he not gotten the vaccine, he may not have survived what he went through.
It sounds like that to me. The vaccine is obviously something that is supposed to prevent. And if it doesn't prevent, if you still contract the virus, it's supposed to kind of help with the
right,
with the symptoms.
Right.
He still had a rough time at it. He had a rough go at it. And like I said, my mother contracted COVID back in, I think, June. Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law had it last year. A few people I know personally Joe had it. Yeah.
I had it in January. Yep.
And I've seen several different outcomes. I've seen people who get really sick. I've seen people where it didn't, like you were basically asymptomatic. You didn't have anything really going on, right?
I had a dry cough for a day and a half, and it ended on Friday. I got it on Thursday, dry cough. On Friday by noon, it was gone. I was good Friday, good Saturday. And by the end of the Ravens playoff game, I sat down to do my podcast, poured myself a glass of bourbon and couldn't taste it or smell it, and lost my sense of taste and smell for 5 weeks. And I'm going to be honest with you. That was all. I don't want to make a joke and make light that like, oh, that was just as bad as being dead, because clearly being dead is different. But it was awful losing your sense and taste of smell for 5 weeks. It was, that part was awful, but I was far more blessed than a lot, like even Dion. So he's pointed when he says, I'm a professional athlete. I'm in the top 1% of all of the world.
Yeah.
From a shape standpoint. And like, it's got me like this. Like, am I going to die? Those are the questions he was asking himself. And why me? Which is very sobering when you think about it.
Well, and the thing is, you're right. First, the honesty of it, and this is scary. It's scary to watch. But then, like you said, the thing that I loved about it, on top of him being honest and open, was that he was not going to allow anybody, whether it's the media, whether it's people that, because I'm sure he knows those guys too. A lot of the media members are the local media guys and ladies. He's not going to let any division come into the team because of this. Like, everything doesn't have to always be political. And I know we weren't planning to go this route, so I'm not going to like go on this tangent. But the thing is, it doesn't always have to be like a divisional, political, right, left, whatever we want to call it. Like, it's literally like, those guys are brothers and they love each other. They have differences of opinion, and that's it. Can we please stop trying to divide my guys?
But it's even more than that. And I think this is what it gets back to, especially on Twitter, which is a gaslight arena. Not only do they love each other, but they respect each other's opinions. And that's what we've lost. We've lost the ability to respect somebody else's opinion or feelings. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong and I hate you, is basically where we've landed. So for me, I think there's an aspect that he, even as an NFL player, and that's what this whole thing about Cole stems from, is that his initial comment was about him feeling like, or his misunderstanding, because the way the news came out was incorrect, that the NFLPA had made an agreement with the NFL on COVID protocols for 2021. And that was his initial tweet that he was like furious about. And he was like, I don't care. I'm going to speak out because I don't care, because I've already made my millions. I don't need to play for money anymore. Like, my family and my generational wealth is there. It's taken care of. I can speak at this point. And then you couple that with the young players who are being told, you better get vaxxed. If you don't get vaxxed and I got to cut somebody, I'm cutting you. And that's basically who he was trying to protect, was the people that were the young guys that were afraid, like not sure of what decision to make, not educated in the decision, because and they were operating and getting vaccinated and making choices, if you will, based off of the NFL and the franchise saying, if you don't get and Brandon Beane said it, if I've got a choice, if I've got two guys, right, and they're both on the line, one's vaxxed, one isn't, I'm cutting the guy that's not vaxxed. And that's what Beasley was talking about. So I think there's a great deal of respect that these guys have for Beasley kind of speaking up. But at the same time, the fact that the media tried to pit them against each other isn't necessarily right either at the same time. So I'm just glad the dude's okay. I mean, I think
that also that goes to, I'm trying to find the comment, because somebody actually said there was confusion about what Cole's issue actually was. Cole's issue wasn't saying people should or shouldn't get vaxxed. You know, it was more so about
Can we just
how
say that,
he feels that the difference in treatment.
Can we just say that he wore his mask for his first press conference? I haven't seen him wear a mask since. So at this point, he might be vaccinated.
Well, right, because to do interviews without a mask, you have to be vaccinated. Like
Correct.
to do so when you see these guys, and I'm not
on the sideline,
telling you guys to do. Yeah, you have to wear a mask. If you don't have a mask on, that means you're vaccinated. If you're following the rules, and if not, you're going to see some suspensions or hefty fines handed down if these guys are not wearing masks on the sideline or in the pressers. So I know how the media kind of ran with the storylines for clicks and everything, and I know how the fan base, because we always get emotional, like we do that, and I'm a fan too. So like I get it, but in reality, like this is not about a division. This is not about a division. Everybody, everybody loves everybody. And like you said, they all respect each other.
Yep.
It just comes down to, because even the whole Jerry thing on there, Jerry respects them. It wasn't, we can move on. I'm tired of talking about COVID.
I am too, but this is I think the best opportunity to talk about it that we've had in a long time, as far as like, cause there's some
positive. It's not a negative spin on it.
Yeah. And just the realness that Dion kind of approached it with. And then for him to back up his teammate when the media does what the media tries to do, which is find a headline, right? Dion Dawkins slams Cole Beasley for his statements to, on Twitter. Like that's what that guy was fishing for. That guy was fishing for that headline. But I'm just glad Dion's okay. And for me, I've said this all along. If you have not yet had COVID, you absolutely probably should get vaccinated. If there's a risk, and by the way, this is a sidebar. If our government truly cared about American citizens, they'd stop sending us money and start sending us vitamins, because the reality is the best defense every American has, every human has against COVID is your own immune system. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. They should mandate every American to take vitamins and send us vitamins. Make a deal with GNC and send us all vitamins and stop sending us $500. Because we don't. Well, it's a whole other conversation. Yeah,
don't make a deal, because then like people who normally go and buy vitamins, I don't need to be paying $900 with my insurance to get some vitamins, because that's what's going to happen if the government makes a deal for vitamins. Like,
that's the myth though. The myth, even the science tells us the most important thing for you is to be taking vitamins and have a beefed up immune system. Meanwhile, the government's sending us money. And we can move on. Let's just move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's just move on.
Next question.
So this was my contribution to the show tonight. There's a lot of NFL teams out there, and I want to pose this to the comment section as well. There's a lot of NFL teams out there, and I can't name them off the top of my head, but there's a lot that are saying that certain quarterbacks, certain players are not going to play in the preseason at all. What if any players on the Buffalo Bills starting roster do you not need to see in preseason this year at all? I'm going to ask you first. I'll probably have a couple, and then I'd love to see, just from the comments section, anybody out there that has a feeling of like, so if there's a handful, 1, 2, Josh Allen is a prime candidate. The news yesterday, and this is important, it rained in Buffalo yesterday. It rained all day today, but it rained yesterday during practice. The dude was 15 of 15 to start the practice in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dude has been balling out. He's been losing his mind in practice and everything. Like, what starters on this team, if there's any at all, and I'm giving you a moment to think, do you not need to see this preseason at all?
Well, first, I agree with you about Josh. Like, I don't think we need to see Josh at all. In the same breath, I'm going to say we don't need to see Diggs.
Right. We
don't need to see Beasley. Like, if I'm being honest, other than the offensive line and maybe the running backs, I don't want to see any of my starters play, because we know what we got from last year. We know who's here.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line, I would like to see them play together. I would like to see them gel, and I would like to see the running backs
Agreed.
Step forward. But other than that, throw Mitch out there. I don't need to see Josh until September. Like, why do we need to see Josh? We know who we got. We know who we got. I don't need it. And then to what you were talking about, going 15 for 15 in the rain, there was also several reports about how the defense was visibly upset about how he kept making plays and they just could not stop him.
Yep.
And the thing is, I really, honest to God, and I haven't been in Buffalo, so this is not me saying I know it from seeing them myself, and I don't. But what I'm telling you is, I really got a hunch that this defense is not going to be the defense from last year. We're going to be solid.
Yeah, And I think the defense more than anything needed the preseason, which is weird if continuity is a thing. And you and I have talked a lot about continuity. I did a monologue on continuity on the Overreaction show. If continuity is a thing, it shouldn't have been necessary last year, but clearly it was something that they needed last year. For me, it literally is, I want to see the offensive line play. I want to see them gel, to your point, which Dion getting healthy is kind of a big part of that. I don't need to see Josh this preseason. I don't need to see Stephon Diggs this preseason. I may not need to see Emmanuel Sanders this preseason. Tre'Davious White, right? No. I don't know that I need to see Tremaine. Do I need to see Matt Milano? I don't think so. The young studs on the defensive line, yes, those guys I want to see. I want to see Mario Addison. I want to see Vernon Butler. I want to see maybe a little bit of Star Lotulelei, which he said in his presser yesterday he wants to play. He said he's only sat out a couple of games in the preseason, he felt like he kind of needs it. As far as that goes, but yeah,
I'm sure a lot of the players, because and I know people aren't fans of the Cowboys, so this year's Hard Knocks is kind of tough to watch. But a lot of players want to play in the game, like even though it's preseason and a lot of guys don't want to risk injury, the players want to play. So I don't question anybody's desire or will to play. But for me, I could see Star. I could get what you would Star.
Yep.
But really, all of them do. Mario Addison, don't need to see him. I don't need to see Poyer and Hyde. I need to see Poyer September 4th when I come for his premiere. That's when I need to see Poyer. I don't need to see Poyer at all this preseason. If they want to show us clips from practice, that's when I'm gonna see him. I don't need to see him on the field playing against the Bears or playing. Who's the third game?
The Packers.
I don't need to see him against the Packers. I don't need to see those guys there was 21 returning starters.
Yep.
There's maybe 3 of them that I'm like, let that dude play. Like not Dion, Dawson Knox, come out and catch some passes, man. Like I want to see that.
He made he made a difficult catch in that game on Friday. Like he made a catch that was hard.
And then there's reports this week in training camp that he's still dropping passes. It's like, what the hell, dude? So, but to my point, I'm saying like the starters, I don't need to see it. It's continuity. Like you said, we're consistent this year.
Running backs, I want to see all of them.
Like I said, running backs and offensive line save Dion. No Dion, but the offensive line together, I want to see that cohesion, and I want to see the run. I need to see more Zach Moss this week. We saw Motor last week. Good. He looked good.
I want to see Addison. To your point, I want to see Butler.
He does look. I don't want to see them. We saw them all last season.
If that's the case, I'm cutting them now. Then the next roster cut to get down to what's the next number? Is it they moved from 93 to 87, and then 87 is it to 80 or something like that? Whatever the next.
I don't know. I care more about practices than these preseason games. So it's like I don't need to see them in the preseason game for them to still be looked at during the practices. I just, honest to God, I don't want any of my starters getting hurt. This is my year.
Right.
This is my year. I'm going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to have a sign. I'm not going to wear a shirt. And it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to happen. Y'all going to see all of this.
If
whole gut.
If your ass is at the Super Bowl and I'm not sitting next to you, we got a problem.
Start putting your money aside because it's going down. It's going down. This is it.
I need to backtrack just for a second because bringing truth and context to everything is important. Justin Chisholm says, Mongo's COVID takes were based off of people he tagged, being right-wing podcasts and a doctor known for lying about COVID. The narrative and the context that you're speaking of changes when you realize that John Feliciano is vaxxed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to leave it at that, and we can move on. Because that changes the whole conversation as it pertains to what he tweeted out. So he is vaccinated. Anyways, moving on. So, yeah. A lot of I really want to see. So, I think we have to
go ahead. Button. My bad.
Yeah, no problem. Eli says, I really want to see Trubisky. I do too. I want to see Trubisky throw passes. As much as I understand situational football, they're trying to put the run game on film. I want to see this kid throw passes. What were you going to say?
No, I mean, I'm agreeing with you there. We don't need to see Josh.
Yeah, you were going to throw a comment up. What comment were you going to throw up?
Well, no, Amanda was just saying she's going to call it Buffalo's making the Super Bowl.
Making? Amanda?
That's what she said. And Rich said they're going to win the damn thing. We're going to win the whole damn thing. We're going to do it. But no, I agree. I want to see Mitch get out there and throw some balls. So that way we don't have news anchors saying that he looks scared and tentative and he needs to figure it out. Like, I want to see Mitch get out there and throw it 10, 15 times. I want to see Jake Fromm. I want to see Davis Webb. I personally liked what I saw from Davis Webb. Me too. So to me, I know we had this conversation on the code of conduct. I don't think Fromm is a lock, even though we drafted him. I don't think he's our practice squad guy, or I don't think he's a third.
I agree.
I really think the team likes Davis Webb for multiple reasons, and I think Davis Webb, if it's between those two, I'm going with Webb. So, yeah. But other than that, the question is, I don't need to see nobody that starts besides the offensive line and those running backs.
Yep.
Everybody else, get on the field.
I agree. Next topic: Luke Kuechly and Zoe were at practice recently. Two incredible linebackers, not necessarily in Buffalo, but in the NFL. Coincidence?
No, but real quick before we do that, because we lost one and I just saw another one. I want to shout out Apex.
Yeah.
Apparently, Apex jumped in and jumped out, had to run. Thank you so much for the super chat. We love you. And then real quick, the market dominator, I feel like, isn't that it? I'm coming back. Yep, it is the market dominator. Listen, dude. I see this comment literally probably.
Are your hands bigger than mine? We'll have to see when you get in town.
We'll see. But I don't. This is not the first time I've seen this comment. I see this comment like every single week on the code of conduct and the Hump Day Hotline. Every single week. But whatever. Okay. Listen, Luke Kuechly and Zoe being at practice, man. To me, this means it's the real deal. We need these linebackers to play at the level that they need to play at. Yeah. So this is the year, and I know I've been on the record saying this is my year of Tremaine Edmunds as far as the way I was for Andre Roberts last year, and I defended him at every turn, and I'm gonna be like that this year about Tremaine Edmunds. But aside from that, it sounds like the team is like, no, my dude, it's time for you to be that guy. Yeah. This is year 4. Yeah. It's time for you to do it. We extended the 5th-year option for you, but we need to see some things. So I think it's that time.
I think if there's even you have heard me say it all of 2020, especially when the trade deadline was coming and JJ Watt was out there, when free agency opened and JJ Watt was out there, and I've been pounding the table for Havoc Reeker. I think a Havoc Reeker on that defensive line changes the game and the football dynamic entirely for guys like Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmunds. Like, if you've got a guy out there like a TJ Watt or a JJ Watt or Joey Bosa, and you've heard me say this, so this isn't anything that is new to you. You've got to have a guy out there that offenses have to be worried about, because if the offense is not worried about your front four, then they're going to like completely house and put offensive linemen. They're going to get guys to your second level, and once they get guys to your second level, it's kind of lights out. They've been completely snuffed out of the play at that point in time, right?
Yep. So I don't know. I'm seeing it because, like we said, we all know in the Sean McDermott defense, Leslie Frazier defense, but in the Sean McDermott defense, you need that linebacker to be the guy. We need that Luke Kuechly type of guy. So, man, I'm all for it. I'm telling you, he's gonna do it this year. He's gonna do it this year.
What do you think? Was it just a tour? Was it just hey, Luke Kuechly's in the building, let's put him in some Bills clothes and he can hang around practice for a little bit? What do you think the reason was that those guys were in camp?
Well, I know you almost see it every year, not necessarily in Buffalo, but you see it around the league every year where a retired player will come in practice, and then it's a team that's not even the team they played for. Like, I remember I was so heartbroken one time. I saw Andre Reed. I believe he was helping out. I think it wasn't nobody in our division, but he was helping out another team, and he was in a different, and I'm like, why would he ever be wearing their colors? Like, this just isn't, but it happens around the league. So I'm sure Panthers fans was like, why is Luke Kuechly up there like that? But look, I think what it does is you're bringing in a guy like Luke Kuechly, who everybody knows is a legend. He retired early, depending on who you talk to. He should be a Hall of Famer, even though he didn't win anything, because he played that damn good. You have a guy with that type of intensity, but also that type of knowledge. He's intelligent. His football acumen is second to none from that position. Yep. So you got a guy like that to come in and pour into Tremaine Edmunds, pour into Matt Milano.
Yep.
He's helping, and I'm sure there had to be some type of film study, or I'm sure it was more than what we saw on the field. Yeah. So, and then you bring back Zoe. We all know Zoe pretty much needs to just hurry up and be a coach somewhere, like in Western New York, not just somewhere, but he needs to be a coach. Like, come back, be the linebackers coach, man. Just do this.
Yep, for sure. So Sterls for the girls is in a house. He says that you've got Kawhi Leonard hands, which is funny. And then there was something else down here I wanted to point out. This is it. from Amanda Davey. I feel like Edmunds is soaking it all in. He's ready to break out. This has got to be it for him, right? I know. So he's led the team, I believe, or been close to leading the team in tackles the last couple of years. And you and I have debated this. It's different to be Brian Urlacher and leading the team in tackles and John DeGiorgio and leading the team in tackles. There's a difference between being a havoc wreaker, being in the offensive backfield, sniffing out plays, shooting gaps, tackles for losses versus chasing guys down the field like Preston Brown used to do and tackling guys from behind. This has to be the year for him. Yes.
Yeah, but see, I have a different perspective of who Tremaine Edmunds is, though. There's a lot of Bills fans who look at him somewhat as like not performing up to that standard. And I know last year is one that's thrown out there a lot when we have these debates. But again, I always try to add context to those situations. Like, I don't want to just say, well, look at the numbers and not say why. For the first half of the season, he had a shoulder injury. So even though the tackles were made, a lot of those tackles, he allowed those guys to get an extra yard or two because he couldn't wrap up completely. There were times where he did hit the hole, but because he was, he just didn't have the full extension. He didn't. So I will agree, like, his numbers took a hit or whatever. But in fairness, once that injury healed up, we saw a beast in my guy, Tremaine Edmunds. And that's what I think that we're going to see again. He's super young. He's super smart. He's learning the game at a pace that, like, when he came in as a rookie, everybody saw the physical traits and was just like, yo, this dude's about to be amazing. Yep. The game is starting to slow down for him, and you could see it. You could absolutely see it. He was just injured last year, man. I truly look at him as one of the, I'm not going to say top 3, top 5 linebackers, but he's a top linebacker in the league for me. So I need Bills fans to be a little less critical on Edmunds. The Bills have a deep roster, dude. In every position, we have a guy that can somewhat be considered top in a way for the league. Like receiver, we got a top one. Quarterback, we got a top one. Running back, yeah. You know what I mean? But we have guys on the offensive line that I would say might be considered top in certain areas. Dion is not a slouch by any means.
So to your point about the offensive line, and I'll let you continue, so don't lose place. But 2018, Josh Allen's first year, I think they had 9 defensive or offensive linemen, 10 offensive linemen. 8 of them were out of the NFL, including 4 starters in front of Josh Allen in 2019, the year after. In 2021, all 5 of the guys we have and some of our bench guys would start on other football teams.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like in Buffalo, we're overly critical because it's like, if somebody misses a block, or on defense, if somebody misses a tackle, of course, to us, it's the most important tackle in the world. Like, it's the worst thing in the world. Even okay, guys miss tackles every time. Like, it happens around the league
all the time.
So if you add context, one missed tackle isn't going to make or break. Let's talk about the 118 he did make. Let's talk about the tip passes. He's a beast when it comes to tipping passes off the line. Let's talk about how he had what did he have? 2 interceptions this rookie year, or just 1? I don't remember his stats right now, but
2. Youngest
let's
player
talk
in NFL
about
history. Was he the youngest player in NFL history with a interception?
He was. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's not be so caught up on like certain moments and certain whatever that we don't understand that this guy is actually really good. We're just overly critical because we're used to so being a Bills fan, I had to be honest with myself, and I have these conversations often now, especially being at the Cardinals games. Like, I'm talking to people and I'm doing look, for a long time, Bills fans really only had falling in love with the players and chasing the stats and then hating other teams. That's all we had because we weren't winners. Now we're winners. We have to change our mentality. We can't keep critiquing the guys as if they aren't good anymore. We can't keep having like it's a different level of criticism. Before it's legit.
Well, the reality is the Buffalo Bills are also no team has the best player at every position, and there's an unrealistic expectation, overreaction, if you will, if I should throw that in there, that by Bills Mafia that we need to have the best player at every position. They've got to be the great, and usually if we don't necessarily like what they're giving us, the guy on the bench is way better, right? That's what we do in Buffalo, the underdog. And you couple that with, and this is what I'm excited for. And by excited, I mean that like sarcastically. The first time Josh Allen comes out, has a 3 interception football game, throws 1 touchdown, and the Bills lose. And how I told you Josh Allen wasn't a good quarterback in the NFL. And there's no way that this football team could ever make the playoffs or go to a Super Bowl with Josh Allen as the quarterback. Because that's coming. That is coming, right? Like the day that the Josh Allen has a bad game, the Bills lose. It's like, told you sucked.
It's tiring.
It's tiring.
It's tiring. And as somebody who now, which I'm grateful for, the respect that I've earned, where now people come to me for content and people come to me and ask questions and people want my feedback. I appreciate it and I love the love. But a lot of times it's tiring to have these conversations when people are really just negative about the team.
Right.
We have a very good team. Like we have a very, 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 very good team. So the thing is, it's okay to be critical to the point of saying, I want us to win. So like during the offseason, I kept saying, I don't know if we move the needle to beat the Chiefs or to beat Tampa Bay. That was my thing. I'm not saying, oh, so-and-so sucks, we need to upgrade.
I think we did. I think that defensive line, the talent, the young talent on that defensive line, the length and the quickness, I think the needle has moved. I'm not saying it's moved enough. We'll see, but I think it has moved.
Well, I do believe that it's moved. Earlier in the offseason, I didn't believe that it moved because I wasn't a fan of the Greg Rousseau pick. I wasn't a fan
I remember.
So for me, looking at the pick when it happened, I'm like, we needed a running back. We need speed out the backfield or we need this, we need that. So for me at the time, I'm like, yeah, we didn't move the needle enough.
Right.
Now, I've seen certain tape from practice, Josh has grown again. So I don't want to say too much about that.
We talked about that 15. I started to say it 15 and 15 in the rain. And the reason that I was going to say that and I lost track of what I was going to say is because Bills Mafia is very big about we need a dome because quarterbacks can't, like Josh Allen can't throw in the weather. 15 and 15 in the rain. Man. In the rain, 15 and 15. So
he got it.
I don't know how I could be more excited to see what this kid's going to bring to the football field in 2021. That was
what I'm saying. Like
that's a weird that's a weird segue. And it seems like we do a lot of conversation. We have a lot of conversation. We talk a lot about Josh Allen, but I mean, could this kid be the best quarterback in football this year? Absolutely.
Do I think he will be? No, I think there's a couple guys that's hungry this year. Not that Josh isn't hungry. I think Josh is absolutely hungry. I don't think he's going to have the best quarterback season, but I don't think it's going to be in a sense where it's bad. I think the offense has figured out who we are and how to win games. So now it's one of those things where I don't know if you watch. I know you don't watch a bunch of basketball, but one of the things is like they always say like, oh, those guys are on cruise control because they know they just get in there for the playoffs. So when I say that, I don't mean in a sense where Josh couldn't be the best. Right. I think he absolutely could be. And I know his mentality is to kill. Like he has that kill mentality. Yep. But I think the way the games are going to be called, I don't think he's going to really have the ability to go out there and just like it's going to be they're going to pull back on certain things because they have a goal in mind. So what I'm saying is when we're up, there's not going to be games where Josh is out there if we're up by 4 touchdowns. And that's going to happen this year. It's going to happen a lot this year. Josh will he's not going to play the full 60 minutes if we're up by 5. Like it's just not happening. So when we blow these teams out, not like last year, because the defense is going to continue to keep these leads. We have a better defense. So it's just going to be different. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be the comeback Josh. Right. It's not going to be that. But I do think come playoff time, it's not going to be a question. We have the Super Bowl MVP on our roster right now, and his name is Joshua Allen. It just is what it is.
Great segue and a great come around. We talked at the top of the hour about 95 problems, and the list isn't one. Where do you feel like Josh Allen is going to end up on this top 100 list?
Well, I previously in the offseason, I predicted that he was going to fall at 6. And the reason why I felt like he was going to fall at 6 is because obviously the normal suspects are at the top. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers won MVP. He's going to be there. Aaron Donald is going to be there. Tom Brady's going to be there. So I just feel like there's certain guys. Me personally, I put him over certain people. So, for instance, right now, if I had to pick, I'm putting Josh Allen over Russell Wilson this season. I'm not saying overall, but Russell Wilson last season wasn't Josh. I think Josh is a step above from what we've seen last year. I feel like Wilson will still get the nod just based off of consistency over time. Yep. So I feel like Josh falls just out of the 5 and he'll be at 6.
What's funny is the disrespect that we talked about, right? We talked a little bit about that real quick. Is it disrespect if Stephon Diggs is ranked higher than Josh Allen?
No.
Why would you?
Or what? I'm not asking this from a defensive point, but a real question. Why would it be offensive if Diggs was?
To me, it's disrespectful because when you watch the shows, when you watch Good Morning Football, which I love, and ESPN and all the shows, they're not picking Stephon Diggs as a top 4 wide receiver in the NFL. It's the usual suspects again. So then it turns into, well, but Stephon Diggs is way higher on this list on the top 100 than Josh Allen. When I don't know, to me, that's disrespect, right?
Yeah, I guess it is disrespect in that sense of it. The way I see it though is if you're just talking about being a ball player, and so Stephon Diggs, for his position, what he does, the value he brings. I know Good Morning Football and other people don't even include him in the top 5 list a lot of times, which is disrespectful.
Right.
But I don't. But in the grand scheme of things, like I mentioned earlier, I think players know players, and I think amongst the players, people know that Stephon Diggs is the truth, and they knew he was the truth even with the other guy that he had throwing to him. Like he didn't have the same season.
Yeah,
so people knew.
Yeah, Sterling Furlow with the super chat. Thank you, Sterling. Edmunds takes false steps. That is his athleticism covers up. Can be late to react and is more of a catcher than an initiator as a tackler, which we see also in Levi Wallace. These were knocks coming out of Tech or Virginia Tech, right? Edmunds is going to be a star. So I agree with that. And like to his point, when he makes the mistakes that he makes, his athleticism covers it up. Is what Charles is saying. And that reaction piece, if he can figure that, all the greats, Luke Kuechly, Brian Urlacher, Singletary, like you name all the great linebackers that have played in the NFL, even a Zach Thomas from Miami, their ability to sniff out what was about to happen is literally what made them great. And I don't know that Edmunds is there yet. He shows flashes. There's times he'll jet through a hole and catch a running back behind the line of scrimmage, but it has to be consistent, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would bet you on it, but we already got this bet, and you're going to wear my Cam Newton jersey, so we're going to leave that alone. My girl Amanda said, my bad, real quick. Amanda, she's shocked that I wasn't a fan of Groot. She would have never thought. The thing is, it wasn't that I wasn't a fan of Groot. I'm excited, and I was excited after I calmed down. The thing was, I was disappointed in his performance during his preparation for, getting drafted. He didn't perform well. And my thing is, you had a whole year off and you knew what drills and what type of things you had to do. So to me, it just showed a lack of work ethic, and it showed a lack of intensity in that standpoint. So for me, it was like, I don't want that. But now we're seeing that once he got drafted, he's like, okay, I'm focused. He's putting things together. And from what we see, obviously he had a sack last week and he's killing stuff in the practices and like, it's amazing. So no, I'm not a fan. I actually love him, but when he was drafted, it was just like, what?
If we can slow down the fanfare for Groot, just so everybody knows, Fina texted me. The game was Friday. I think he texted me Sunday after he was kind of dissecting the game, and he said that Groot played very, very well in pass protection, used his length well, used his arms well, which we've talked about, and he said that he was folded up pretty well. And he was playing way too high in the run defense. And if he does not get that run defense situation figured out, it's going to be a problem. So he had high moments, he had low moments, but he is a rookie as far as that goes. Yeah. And then what I was pulling up is my sister, Jamie Hanley. Hey, that's me in that picture.
That's your first time seeing it?
Yeah. Well, she had some other picture up there before.
Monday, I saw you.
First of all, my son, who is a Browns fan, we're going to have a conversation about my nephew, first of all. Is trying to beat me to Allen and Diggs in our fantasy football league. Even he recognizes the Bills have a ton of talent this year. And it's true. Like, where do you find Baker Mayfield? I know what you think about Baker. Where do you find him falling this year, quarterback-wise?
You mean on this list, or you just mean in general?
Just in general.
Actually, I think Baker has a hell of a year. I think Baker comes out and he earns this extension. I really do. I think I like it. I think Jarvis Landry is going to have an amazing season this year. I think he's going to legitimately go out there and say, look, I'm really a number one dude. I know Odell Beckham is back, but I'm Jarvis Landry and I'm going to bless you. Like, that's how he talks. I feel like he's really I feel like this year Jarvis is going to do something because of that, because of Jarvis's production. And again, OBJ is back. They're not trading him. I know the rumors have been that he was being traded. Odell's back and he's hungry. I know there's a lot of hate, whatever. We're going to move from that. But I really think Baker's going to have a big year this year. But as of right now, I still have him slightly out of the 10. I don't have him as a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Gotcha. So are you going to be donning your garbage bag jersey this year or no?
Oh, I'm a rocket. You know what I mean? I'm a support the dude Bake. I got him. I got my OBJ though. I'm gonna wear my OBJ way more than I wear Baker.
I don't think I have it in here anymore. I took it out. It was so amazing. Fantastic show, my friend. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about real quick? We're at the hour mark. So anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, if you have anything, I got a couple more minutes, but I got to eat. I had a rough day at work. It was busy, so I didn't get to eat.
This was an incredible. Brian Bowers just showed up. Sorry, Brian. You just get here, and we're about to give you the send off. But
my man, Buddy B.
Yeah, Joe and Spence. Can we flag Mara for being not fun? What does that mean, Eli Padilla?
I have no clue. Right? Okay. Sure thing, Eli.
That's hysterical. But ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings Multicast Network. Just good to have you guys here. Excited for football. I realized that McCoy is still a free agent. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, I was just seeing if there was another chat that we could throw in there or comment.
Oh, can I do one?
Yeah, for sure.
I realized the other day that LeSean McCoy is a free agent, and I can't stop thinking about it. This is interesting to me for one reason and one reason only. I do not think LeSean McCoy can contribute to a winning franchise at this point.
Right.
It's not a knock on Shady. I love Shady. I love Shady. The thing is, there's a reason why he didn't start in the last 2 Super Bowls that he won. There's a reason. However, he might have that. He just might have that favor of God at the moment where he's winning Super Bowls.
Right.
The Bills might need to bring this dude back just to have him on the roster.
Right.
If just do it. Just go get him. He loves Buffalo. Buffalo loves him. Just do it, man. I need the Super Bowl.
There's no way that he couldn't effectively execute screenplays. He absolutely could effectively execute screenplays.
And if we went and got Shady, and this is going because I get hate. If we went and got Shady, I would be perfectly fine with dropping Matt Breida or trading Matt Breida and keeping Devin. I would be perfectly fine with it.
Not going to touch that one.
I know you wouldn't, but that's where I'm at with it. I'm willing to say it.
I gotta wonder how much of letting him go was a part of the culture fit piece. I know that he loved being here, and I know that he felt very accepted by us, but it's very clear the type of player that McBean wants, right?
I don't know. I think he fit it.
You think so? You think they just cut him?
Yeah, the team. I wouldn't say it was because he was old. I think it was more so that they were trying to change the style of play. They really felt like they were going towards building around Josh as opposed to, because the team was a running team. Like we led the league in rushing for 2 years with Shady. Right. So, with LeSean McCoy, the expectation is, okay, we got a guy who's going to get 25 handoffs. Like we have that guy. We couldn't afford to give one person that many touches when the team was going to be built around Josh. So I think that's where it was. You bring in a Frank Gore who doesn't need those touches. You bring in, you draft Devin Singletary, who is elusive enough. He kind of sort of reminds you of Shady in a moment. Right. Not the same level of talent, but it reminds you of him. So I think that was the key. But now that Josh has grown to who Josh is. Like Josh is he's the dude. So now he doesn't need any of that stuff. Shady could absolutely come in here and be our screen guy. He could be our whatever.
Sure. Chris Yenke asked, who are you happy played well in the first preseason game? For me, it's Groot. You want to see a first-round draft pick do first-round draft pick things, and getting a sack that early, to me, was huge.
I was happy with Devin Singletary.
Oh, Devin was on fire. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So Eli says that he's upset at Mara because he's the guy behind the taunting penalties. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. They didn't blow any whistles for the first down thing. They didn't blow any whistles for spinning the football. There were no penalties for taunting. That's what I thought they were going to start calling. Like when the receiver gets up and does the whole football drop thing, I thought that's what they're going to start calling. But yeah.
Well, see, my only beef with that is it's not going to be consistent. So it's like from game to game, depending on who the crew is,
right,
it's going to be different. Like some things will be called taunting and some things won't. And that's going to be the problem for me. Because like you said, one game, they weren't calling that. I literally was here in Phoenix at the Cardinals and Cowboys game, and that got called as a 15-yard, or I don't know if it was 15, but it got called as a penalty.
It'd be 15.
Yeah. So it's just not, to me, it's just one of those things where it's like, look, we gotta get to the point where certain things are black and white, and there are no gray areas.
Yep.
You don't have to. So that's just where I am.
Yep, I'm with you. Why don't you close out the show? I tried, but we got a couple good comments. So why don't you close out the show tonight?
I sure will, but real quick, I just want to know who they were talking about. It actually makes sense to cheer for players rather than teams, so I don't blame. Who was there a comment that made it bad for me to cheer for somebody else? Okay, whatever. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me and Joe Joe and I on the Hump Day Hotline again. It's look, we so excited for the season.
Yes,
we are so excited for the season. So if you're jumped in here right now and you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the Buffalo Rumblings YouTube network and hump that like. Go ahead and hump that like for us.
Listen, on it.
We love y'all. Y'all take care of each other, love each other, and live in peace. And as always, y'all stay positive and test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.